Welcome to the Construction Financial Management Association's Chat with the Chairman. I'm your host, CFMA Chairman Kevin Booth, and today I'll be chatting with the founder and chief data scientist of Pronovos Construction Analytics, Bruce Orr. Thanks for being here, Bruce. First of all, I want to say I'm a huge fan of yours. Last time I saw you, you spoke at CFMA's annual conference. And as most of our viewers know, due to the pandemic, we had to transition our conference into a virtual format this year, which turned out to be one of many changes that we've had to make this year due to the pandemic. So how have you been faring in the last year?
Well, Kevin, thank you for this opportunity to speak with you. Before I answer your question, I was listening to you, and believe it or not, I am a fan, and I remember probably about 8 years ago, I learned about the organization and felt like there was so much I had to learn, and so it was intimidating, and I used to join a lot of your educational webinars and learn all I can, and so it's very humbling for me to be here and to be speaking with you. So it's just interesting when I think back about my journey. But to answer your question, I'm doing well. Last year was a rough year, and I think that that we all are doing the best we can. Let's see, gosh, I feel like I should have had hobbies that I picked up. It seemed like a lot of people had more time to do stuff last year. I hear people. I watched your recording with James Benham, and he was talking about some. I think he was saying he watched some musicals with his daughter, and I was slammed last year. It was really busy, but it was good. It was really good.
Well, good. Yeah, James Benham is not a good example. He's an overachiever. Everyone knows that. So it's hard to keep up with him finding things to do. But this year, especially with the stress of COVID-19, what are some of the things that you do to deal with the stress that this year has put on us?
So, gosh, I have to focus on my physical, mental, emotional well-being, and uh, sometimes I'm hesitant to tell people about this, but I'm a big believer in mindfulness meditation. I actually started it probably about 6 years ago, and I found myself just at a point in life where I was stressed. I'm the founder of Pronovos, and being a tech founder is a lot of work. It's more work than I anticipated, but it's worth it. And I think that some people cope with being overworked and stressed in different ways. There are positive ways, and there are not so positive ways. I know people that eat a lot when they work, and it just develops into habits. And for me, I exercise, and exercising is great. I think it was me that decided to have a long life commitment to just being mobile. I
Yes.
don't want to get old and sit. I want to
Right.
always be mobile and experience life. But it wasn't enough, and I discovered some mindfulness meditation. I remember I went to this class one night, and I sat down, and they said, "Hey, watch your breath and just be present." And I tell you, I was not able to do that. My mind was here, there, everywhere. But when I walked away, there was something about just being okay with the moment that I appreciated. And last year, I recognized that I had to do that more and more. And the impact that it has had on my life and the life of my team, my family, my company is immeasurable. And it's the degree of peace that I can feel during just the chaos that goes on.
Yeah, no, that's definitely very important. So what are some of the positive impacts of doing this every day that you've seen?
Um, you know, gosh, it gives me the opportunity to be in the moment. Like, for instance, you and I, we're talking virtually, right? But you have my entire attention. Whereas before we might have conversations, but my mind is on 20 different things that I need to do, or I'm planning, or I regret it from yesterday. And I think giving another human being my full attention is a quality of life that a lot of people miss out on. And I did not know I missed out on it until I began practicing. And so that actually bleeds into the quality of work, the quality of my relationships, and it just, I don't know. It's like you feel, I lay down at night just feeling like, yeah, I lived my day being in the moment. I feel like I seized the day, as the saying goes, and yeah, and also I think my wife's happier too, so that's always good.
Well, definitely a good thing. Good thing. It's a very good point. Well, as I mentioned, this last year has been stressful, not only because of COVID, but a lot of social unrest in the country, for that matter, for the world this last year. And with this being Black History Month, it's especially front of mind, a subject that everyone is thinking about right now and should be talking about more of. Last month on Chat with the Chairman, we had Tim Wilson and Jason Myers from BKD here, and we briefly discussed the CFMA Executive Committee Diversity and Inclusion Task Force that Jason is chair of. And you are also a member of the Diversity and Inclusion Task Force, CFMA. So tell us about your experience there.
Let me tell you, gosh, when I was asked to be part of that again, like that was a big honor, because this is something that is near and dear to me, and the commitment that the task force had on achieving an outcome was like nothing else. We met every other week, and these meetings, imagine, we were just talking about how you bounce from Zoom to Zoom, and you're kind of trying to gather your thoughts from the previous Zoom meeting that you were on. But we come together every other Thursday, and it's in the middle of the day, but somehow the task force is able to be present. I mean, like, I don't know if everyone meditates in a task force, but it takes an element of compassion, peacefulness.
Oh, wait, excuse me. Sorry. Well, we got a
It-
visitor here. Well, speaking of the devil, hey,
This
Jason
isn't the right-
Myers.
Is this the right chat room I'm supposed to be in?
What are you doing here? We were just talking about you.
My ears were burning. I could feel it.
What?
My goodness, Bruce, how are you doing?
Hey, Jason, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, hanging out with the chairman, huh?
That's right. That's right. We were just, as you said, just talking about you.
Well, that's pretty scary. But I thought I was supposed to be in a different chat room, so I don't know what just happened, but
well, welcome.
well, thank you. I guess I'll hang out for just a minute then.
Sure. What are you doing?
Well, as you know, Kevin and Bruce, you do, the D&I task force has been hard at work this year. And, COVID has changed everything that happens. What we would normally do face to face, you have to find creative ways to make big deals out of big people. And Bruce, to me, you are one of those individuals. And as a member of the CFMA exec group, the chairman has a special award that, we get the opportunity to give out each year. Excuse me. And I'm getting choked up. And you've been that. And
No kidding.
I'm going to have this coin sent to you. And
Wow.
Kevin can talk about it in a minute.
Wow.
But it is the chairman's recognition of service and excellence. And I appreciate the time that you've had on the D&I task force. And I feel like your positive energy and your passion for it and your thoughtfulness and how you think about each of the aspects that we talk about in that group is just really top notch. And I know you put a lot of time and effort into it. And I can tell you, Kevin, you don't know this, but Bruce was hard on himself because he's been so distracted with all the things going on at work that he felt like he needed to give more. But I can tell you that's exactly how much passion Bruce has for it. And that's why he feels that way. But he has given a tremendous amount to CFMA, the D&I task force, and the entire construction industry. So Bruce, congratulations. I'm going to have this packaged up and sent to you. So congrats.
Wow. Thank you very much. It truly is touching. Jason, I don't know if Kevin knows this, but in the beginning when we joined, and we were in the beginning of the task force, Jason was saying, I'm going to help be that conduit that takes your voice and the message to the executive committee, and someone. And I think a lot of people felt like, wow, here's a white guy. We're talking about diversity and inclusion, and I was like, yeah, why is he doing that? But no better person than Jason. I mean, the commitment, like I felt like I have a friend, that we've been friends for a long time, and he was the right person for this. And I appreciate, being part of this task force. So yeah, you threw me off.
We got you. Well, congratulations, Bruce, on receiving the Chairman's Challenge coin. It's well deserved. Well deserved.
I thank you very much.
You bet.
Well, thanks, Jason, for stopping by. We'll see you later, Jason.
I've officially Zoom bombed. I'm cool now.
Yes, you are.
Take care, both of you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye now. Yeah, sorry about that. We surprised you there.
I'm taking out of my element now, but this is what I was saying. That experience is the genuine experience that I encounter every other Thursday with the task force. So yeah,
that's fantastic. Well, one of the things the task force recommended is that CFMA have a full-time standing committee, which the executive committee recently unanimously approved. So beginning April 1st, CFMA will have a standing diversity and inclusion committee, which we hope that you will continue to be a part of. Yes,
absolutely.
And we're looking forward to great things to come from that committee. The task force was really just the very beginning, and I'm proud of all the work that you have done, that Jason, the task force co-chair Samantha Lake, and all the other members of the task force have done over the last year to get us to this point. It's been a very tumultuous year, and it feels good to have at least started to do something. We can't claim victory, but it's a start, and I also want to give some recognition to our friend and former executive committee member, Pam Hummel, who was the first one that brought this to our attention. Pam wouldn't want this recognition, but she was, and I'm sure many other members felt the same way. Pam was just one that stood up and said, hey, we got to do something. I don't know what it is, but we just got to do something, which is why we created the task force to say, yeah, you're right. We need to do something. So, kudos to Pam for standing up and doing that. And again, to you, Bruce, and everybody on the task force for getting this ball rolling. We've got a lot of work to do, and you've got everything in motion, and we're headed in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, Kevin, just speaking about the impact it has had on my life, it came at the right time. I was learning so much about diversity and inclusion, from not just from an emotional and feeling perspective, but just educating myself more on the things that people go through on all sides. Whether you're Black, whether you're white, you're a woman, and just learning through that process has opened my eyes to more than I recognized before, and it actually led me to write an article that you guys published, and I appreciate that, and it led me to think about a lot of the things that are happening in construction in general. It's a very diverse area, our industry, especially in the field, and so I think there's a lot that I hope we can do to help promote diversity and inclusion in construction, because I didn't know, I don't know if I ever told you this, but prior to, like 9 years ago, my only experience in construction was the roofing job I did in high school. And that experience wasn't the best. It made me say, no, I don't want to be involved in that anymore. And for me, it was that insatiable appetite to learn that brought me back to construction, because as you know, I'm a data guy. And so when I learned about all of the data that construction has, and also how massive the industry is, it was, it was a challenge that I was up for. So, I'm sorry. I'm kind of, my mind, you threw me off.
No, you're right.
The top of my mind.
No, actually, it's a good segue here, because I do want to change subject a little bit, because we could go all day on diversity. But you brought up, how you got into the industry. And, I mentioned earlier that your title is Chief Data Scientist, which is like the coolest title I've ever heard. Okay. So, it's great, that you bring this up. How did you get into this field? You alluded to, your first experience with the construction, but you realized, the challenges that the industry faced. So, what brought you to where you're at now as Chief Data Scientist, and what brought you to create Pronovos?
Yeah. So, I knew very little of construction, except, again, I was a roofer in high school, and it was hot. It was down in the South. I'm from Atlanta, so the southern heat just gets you. Just a quick story about that experience. So I'm on the roof. We're taking shingles off of a high school, and it was a pretty big high school, so it's hot. I think it was like July, and this was probably, I don't know, like the mid 90s. And so we're like just scraping the shingles off, and I'm with a group of guys, and we're all just hot. I would say we're miserable, but it was something that I learned about construction that always resonated and it stuck with me throughout my life. And it was, even though you might not be, happy at doing the job, it's that camaraderie that you have with the team while you're so like in a foxhole. And even though, they were, older guys that didn't look like me, they did their best. I feel like the best they could with the knowledge that they had to make me feel like, oh yeah, we're in this together. We have a job to do. Let's do it. So, fast forward, I went to school, and I got into data because, one, I'm a nerd, and two, I love learning, and I love just understanding. And for me, when you hear people talk about business intelligence and intelligence in general, for me, it is understanding the connectedness of all things, right? Or the things that are important to you. It's not seeing, I understand this bit of information and that bit of information, but I understand how it works together. And so this was a while back. I've been doing this for probably a little over 20 years now. So, I'm a Gen Xer. And so if you remember Hotmail, Hotmail was that mailbox that came up from Microsoft. They bought it from someone else, and you had to, use a dial-up modem. You hear the noise, and boom, it was with the AOL days and all of that, right? So,
yes.
Yeah. So Hotmail was interesting, but then Google came out probably like in 2004 with their Gmail, and they said, we'll give you a gig of data. That was, I think, 500 times more than Hotmail was giving you. I was like, a gig of data, that is crazy. I mean, it was a lot, right? So
you can contain all the world knowledge in a gig, right?
right at the time. Yeah. But what I was thinking, what are they doing with this data? Why is it free? What are they doing with the information? And I just saw that we were accumulating information. Someone would have to do something with it. Fast forward to today, you think about, Kevin, let me ask you, how long have you been in construction?
28 years, almost 30 years.
Okay. So think about even back 10 years ago, or 7 years ago, the amount of data that you had to manage. The way that data was getting to you was the vehicles were not as many. Now you got drones, you have phones, you have data is coming at you, and so that bet that I made, decades ago, around my thought with information is, it's still here, and it's growing. And I feel like when I got into this, that I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I thought it would be easier, honestly. I've been in banking, I've been in insurance, I've been in casinos. I used to go out and work with a lot of the casino groups. I mean, you're in Vegas, so I used to go out there every week, and we would work with large casinos, pulling data from slot machines, hotels, event center, table games, and we just provide analytics to them. And so that was a piece of cake compared to construction. And
I mean, casinos are very data driven, but construction is a little slow to catch up to it.
It is, but we collect a lot of data, right. And the sole mission that I had in 2012 was to provide better analytics and better insight. Our tagline is "Insight you can build on," and it still is true to this day. We want to bring information to all of our customers, really, without leaving like a screen or having to go pull data from here and there. So that is what brought me here, and what keeps me here is a challenge, because we're barely scratching the surface with our capability.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, what do you see on the horizon in regard to trends for 2021? What do you see in the way of data analytics for this year and in the near future?
So things are going to get competitive, really competitive for contractors. And I think that you would have to have people think outside of the box in order to compete at their highest level. And for those companies that understand that their data is a gold mine, are going to be the ones that can compete the best. And so for analytics, it's going to be about how do you get the right information to the right people at the right time? If you're bidding on a job, I'll give you an example. Let's say that you're doing public work, and the bid is open to many general contractors. This is the space that you compete in. So you should already know who your competitor is going to be, right? So the question will be, who is going to compete? What do I think the bids are going to be? And what should we bid at to win the bid and not leave money on the table, right? So I think that analytics is going to be that tool to help them answer those questions. I'll also say for 2021 and the next 5 years, what we're going to see is a need to have information flow to you no matter where you're at. The information should flow to you whether you're in your ERP, your time entry system. It's data that you shouldn't have to go to another application to run a report. Give me bits of information where I'm at so I can make the decision right there. And it's that pervasive intelligence that's going to come to the decision makers at all levels.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really good point. I've been saying for years that earlier you mentioned the gigabyte of data that Hotmail was giving out, and with the explosion of data storage, we've all, in a sense, have become data hoarders. We collect data. We rarely, if ever, purge data because we might need it someday. But what do you do with that data? what would you recommend, and what are people supposed to do with that data that they've been collecting for all these years?
Yeah, I love that, data hoarders.
That's what we are.
Yeah. Yeah. I think first and foremost, we should take advantage of the resources that we have. I've been saying this for a long time. Construction financial managers are, the key people that they see everything. I mean, while, you're busy, you still have other people in your organization that can help you evangelize that data and make better decisions. I like to think that if you're not a construction financial manager, what about project accountants? They know what's going on with the projects. Get people that are in your organization involved in unchaining that data, if you will. So what I would say is come up with a strategy of what you want to do. If you don't know what you want to do because it's too much, you don't know what problems that you want to solve, I would say think about what are the problems or the initiatives that the executives want to achieve. Because it's so funny I'll just say this. I am a one-time first-timer CEO, and I want to be the best at that, right? So this is I make a lot of mistakes, but what I've learned is my job is to set the vision, hire the right people, and keep money in the bank. And so for a lot of leaders, contractors that are leaders that are setting the vision, I think that having the people in place to help you achieve your vision using data is going to be where you should start. What's the vision of the leader, and use data to support that vision.
No, very good advice. Very good advice. I love that saying, by the way, a one-time, first-time CEO. I love that. Well, Bruce, as we wrap up our chat here today, we usually like to ask our viewers a question so they can comment in the chat section below. So this time I'm going to give the honors to you. What would you like to ask our viewers today?
Gosh, it's been a tumultuous year last year. I hope that what we see this year will bring a lot of compassion, a lot of peace, and a lot of prosperity to everyone. But until we get there, I think that we have to try and be grounded. And I love to know what others are doing for their mental and physical well-being. I love to know, like, how are you coping, and how are you smiling and having that infectious smile for others. What are you doing to navigate these waters?
Good question. Well, for all you watching, in the comment section below, please answer Bruce's question here. Let us know how you're coping with all the stresses of the year. And we'd love to hear your comments. And while you're there, make sure, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button if you did, and be sure to subscribe to our channel here at CFMA Princeton so you can get notices of future videos as they're posted. Join me back here next month when I will be chatting with the incoming chairman for CFMA, Pam Hepburn. And until then, everyone, please stay safe, and we'll see you next month. Bye now.
Thank you.